Hello people, this is Aryan from Code Grind, and in today's video we'll be talking about glassmorphism, which is the new UI trend of 2021. And now with the new year we are also moving towards a new trend. In the past year, which is 2020, the UI trend was neumorphism. If you want to learn about that, then I have a separate playlist on neumorphism, and I have talked about how you can create different elements of your web page using HTML and CSS based on the new neumorphism UI. You can go watch it. I'll give a link in the description, and you can also click on the link above. But now let's focus on what glassmorphism is. So in this video I'll be talking about what actually is glassmorphism. I know both of these, neumorphism and glassmorphism, sound same. That's because they both are created by the same guy. And I'll also tell you how to use it using HTML and CSS so that you can implement this new UI trend in your websites. Now there are a lot of other videos in YouTube in where you can find out how to create this UI using designing softwares like Adobe XD and Figma, but I'll be focusing on how you can use it using HTML and CSS. And meanwhile I'll also tell you about what actually it is and what are the basic elements which you need to use so that you can create a perfect glassmorphism effect. So let's get straight into it. Now, when we talk about neumorphism, you get this idea of soft elements and how you can use box shadows to give some 3D effect to your elements in your web page or app or whatever you are creating. But when we talk about glassmorphism, it is a whole lot of different thing. It's this frosted glass kind of an effect, and it is usually used when you're working with colorful backgrounds, so that you also get the feel of the background and you also get the feel of the frosted glass. So these two are the keys of using glassmorphism. You need to have a colorful background and also a frosted glass, which is given using the blur effect. So this is what glassmorphism actually is. Now let's look at some of the examples in the internet and actually look at how different people use glassmorphism. So Windows has actually started using it, and many other big companies are starting to use this UI trend in their softwares. So now when we look at this image, we can see that it has also used this colorful background, and over it is this whole window which is based on the glassmorphism effect. So you can see it has this frosted glass effect, it has got this blur, and we also get the feeling of the background. So this is the basic idea of when you talk about what glassmorphism is, and we'll also be creating this. I'll be telling you how to give this effect to this element, but you can also give it to any other element with the same things which you'll be using to give this element the effect. So it basically revolves around three different properties. The first one is the blur, the second one is the box shadow, and the third one is using the colorful background. So let's see how we can use this and give the glassmorphism effect to any element using HTML and CSS so that you can start using it in your websites. So as you can see, I've got this basic layout ready. I have got this basic HTML template with all the required tags ready in the place. Now, as you might have seen in the preview, we just need one headline, which is like Code Grind, the YouTube channel. You can obviously use any heading which you want, but I'll go with that one. So an H3 tag for that, and we'll go with Code Grind, the YouTube channel. So Code Grind the Okay, so that will be our headline. Now let's go to our Chrome, and in here we have got this Code Grind, the YouTube channel headline over here. So I am basically running a live server which is achieved through the help of VS Code. So whenever I press save in my VS Code, that is the text editor, we'll see the changes in the browser without even reloading the page. Now if you want to use this live server, then simply you need to go to this extensions option over here and just search for live server. You will get this live server and just install it. Since I've already installed it, it's giving me the option of uninstall. So install it, and then from there you can click on go live, which will come over here. Now since I've already started the live server, it's telling me to close it, but you'll get the option of go live over there. So that's how you can achieve the live server thing. Now we have got our heading over here. Now let's move to the styling part. So for styling, I have created this index.css file and I have already linked it over here. Now let's go to the styling, and the first thing which we need to do is remove all the unnecessary margins and paddings which are already provided by the browser. So as you can see, we have got this top and left margin and some paddings. So we'll select everything by using the asterisk selector, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing of border box, and we'll be using the font of Poppins. So I like using this font. It's one of my most favorite fonts. I'll give a link in the description from where you can install this font in your systems, and you can also go visit the Google Fonts website to link this externally if you want. It's completely up to you. Now we'll provide the background image to the body. So we'll go to body and background image. So for the image, I've already downloaded an image from Google. I'll show you that image. So this is this bg.jpg. This is this black and purple moon. So we'll select this bg.jpg, hit save, and as you can see we have got this image over here. Now we'll provide some another properties for adjusting this background image. So we'll give it a background repeat of no repeat, so that it doesn't repeat itself if we resize the window. Then background size of cover, so that it covers the window. So these are all the necessary properties for the background image. Now let's move forward and style our h3. Actually, let's use an h1 tag. We want the heading to be a bit bigger, so we'll make it h1. Yeah, it got bigger over here as well, h1, and we'll give it a position of relative. That's because we'll be positioning that frosted glass effect which was in the middle of the text used in reference with this h1 tag. So we'll be giving this a position of relative, and that effect the position of absolute. So we'll give it a color of white so that it's visible in the background, text align of center, font size of 4M. Yeah, so I'm basically copying down the code. I have already written it, I had already tested it, so I'm just copying down the code which I have already written from the reference code which I have in my other window. And a margin top of 3M so that it has some spacing from the top of the window. Okay, so we have got this text positioned and font size is also perfect. Now let's move forward, and now we'll select the after pseudo element, and we'll give that the frosted glass effect using this after pseudo element. So the first thing which is very important when you're using pseudo elements is that you need to specify the content. Now if you don't have any content, then leave it blank, but if you don't use this property with pseudo elements before and after, then any content won't be visible. So using this property is a must. Now give it a position of absolute, a height of 150%. Now H150p is known as emit abbreviation, as you can see. So it will is just a small syntax for height 150%. If I remove the p, it will become for pixels. So this is what we call emit abbreviations, and if you want to learn about them, then I'll give a link in the description on one of my videos which I created on emit abbreviations. Go watch and you will learn a lot of cool things so that you can save time while writing code. Now let's give it a width of, let's say, 30%. Now still this after pseudo element is not visible, and that's because we have not provided it with any border or background color. So for that we'll provide it with a background color of, let's say, RGBA. We'll go with the color which I had tested, which is 255, 255, 255, and then alpha, which is for opacity of 0.25. Let's hit save and now go. So here you can see we have got this after pseudo element. Now we have to position it perfectly. So to position it, we'll use first of all this top, which is 50%, then left of 50%, hit save, and now it's somewhat around the center, but to make it perfectly at the center, we need to use this last property, which is transform translate of -50%, comma -50%. Hit save, and now it's exactly at the center of the text. Now we are halfway there, but we have not still achieved the main part, which is giving it that glassmorphism effect, that blur, the box shadow, and all the other things, so which will give it that amazing effect. Now for that, the first thing which we need to do is give it a blur, not actually use the blur property, but the backdrop filter property. You can do a lot of cool things using this backdrop filter, but this time we'll be using the blur option. So blur of 4 pixels, hit save, and now you see it has got this blur. Let's also give it a border radius, so a border radius of 10 pixels. Yeah, so it's a bit curvy and looks a little better than what it looked like before. So you see we have got this frosted glass effect, and now let's go to box shadow, and 0 8 pixels, 32 pixels, 0 RGBA, 1 comma 70 comma 70 comma 0.37. Now I have used these values, I have tested them, and I was able to use them. But what will you do when you want to use these values? You can't use the same values if you're working with different background colors, right? If you want a different kind of a different color for your frosted glass, then you can't use these values. So for that we have a website. Let's visit that website, glassmorphism.com. So when you visit that website, it will auto generate some code. As for neumorphism, also I told you about a website which is known as neumorphism.io. So in here what you need to do is just select the amount of blur which you want and the amount of transparency which you want, whether you want to show outline, if you want to change the color of the frosted glass, then you can do that. Let's select this red, and you see here we get this changed color. Let's keep it white only, and over here you will get the code. You can simply copy this and paste it in your CSS, and you will get the desired effect which you want to show in your website. So instead of searching for every single value, you can simply visit this glassmorphism.com website. I'll give a link to this in the description, and just copy the code from here, and it will be much easier for you to do this. So this is how you can achieve the frosted glass effect, also known as glass morphism, which is probably going to be a big thing in 2021. Now don't forget to share and like, and also subscribe to the channel for more such amazing videos on HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And thank you for watching.